Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. In a market full of bad news, this ETF is actually in the green. Joining me at the market site in Times Square, New York City, we have Simeon Hyman, global investment strategist at ProShares, to discuss. It is great to see you again and back at market site in studio.
Indeed, thanks for having me.
Let's talk about the ProShares Equities for Rising Rates ETF, ticker EQRR. This ETF has enjoyed a run of outperformance over the past few months, quite remarkable in this market. Tell us more about it.
Indeed, so it follows the Nasdaq Large Cap Equities for Rising Rate Index, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. So if you look historically from the low of interest rates, this was back in the summer of 2020, it's delivered about triple the returns of the S&P 500. Now note the S&P 500 is up almost 25% in that 2-year period, so notwithstanding the recent downturn, the S&P's in the green, but boy, the outperformance from dedicating a ETF focused on the rising rate environment really has paid dividends.
To what do you attribute that outperformance?
So it is a combination of a sector allocation and stock selection methodology, and both are important. Now, of course, if you look at these last few months, as you referenced, with this ETF being in the green through yesterday, you're looking at outperformance, of course, driven by overweights to things like energy and materials. But we put on our CFA hats and we pulled out our formal attribution analysis, put the pen to paper, and what we found that over the longer period, that outperformance comes from a really nice mix of both stock selection and sector allocation effects. So both are important contributors.
So how does EQRR select sectors and stocks in the portfolio?
So the methodology of that index is pretty straightforward. First, you start with the sectors, and you look at the sectors, and we take 5 sectors that have had the highest correlation with rising 10-year bond yields. And then within those sectors, the 10 stocks within those sectors that have had the highest correlation with rising 10-year bond yields to put together that portfolio.
Where does EQRR fit in an investor's portfolio?
They're all large cap stocks, so it's in your large cap sleeve. But this is a great complement to a core equity holding. It really is a dedicated tactical bet for a rising rate environment. It's all large cap, but a perfect satellite complement to a core holding to give you a little bit of an extra edge in this environment.
And where can investors go for more information?
ProShares.com.
All right, Simeon, great to see you as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.